Cuba, it's me! Welcome to another episode of The W.I.L.L.I.W Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. And today I have a very special guest. He goes by many names on the wrestling circuit. He's been known as Joey Allen, he's been known as Big Al, he's been known as some Russian gimmick. We'll get into all that. Please welcome to the show, Big Al, Joey Allen, Russian guy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, this is a real pleasure. And sitting, this is...
Yeah, let's have a seat. I don't want to stand for too long.
Yeah, this is definitely classy. So anyways, the W.I.L.L.I.W Show is all about wrestling. Wrestling is life, and I know like one of your passions has always been wrestling. But like, so when you were a kid, how did you become a fan of wrestling? Or were you a fan of wrestling as a kid?
Yeah, I remember, actually when I just came to Canada in like 2000, we were at the hotel there when we just got there.
Like,
and
where did you come from?
So we came from Serbia, and then we came to Quebec.
And how old were you?
As a refugee, I was 10.
So you were 10 years old and you moved from Serbia to Quebec?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we were just there, I remember like flipping through channels, and there was like an episode of some random WCW show, like Worldwide or something like that. And
In
Hogan
French?
was on there. I think so, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And did you speak English or French at this point?
No.
Like, what do they speak in Serbia? Sorry, I'm
just Serbian.
Oh, Serbian. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and then my dad was like, yeah, they're just doing it to entertain the crowd. And I was like, what does that even mean, you know?
Like, your dad was already smart at the business?
Well, because it's pretty obvious. I don't know.
Well,
you gotta be like,
people, yeah.
You gotta be like, you know, yeah. He's all into like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So yeah, he was pretty smartened up right then and there, I think. And then like I basically didn't watch any of it until I moved to Ontario in like June of 2000, and then it just went nuts. Like some kid at school was just crazy about wrestling, and like.
And were you like a teenager by this point? Or?
Yeah, I was 10.
Oh, you were still 10 when you moved on.
Yeah.
Alright, so you got into it, there's a couple kids you met that were into it.
Yeah.
What, were you just like into WWF at this
yeah,
point,
just,
WCW?
Even though the WCW was the first thing I saw, the WWF was the only thing I continued to watch for some reason.
And you like, did you rent the movies or
No, it was just Raw and SmackDown, that's it.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
so you watched the cable shows. Did you ever like try and ask your parents to go to a live event or like buy you a toy figure or anything like that?
No, I was like never really about asking for my parents for anything.
So
that's the way I was brought up. I was just kind of watching whatever I get, you know, which was like, yeah, Raw and SmackDown.
But were you like just flipping through the channels, or were you like, you knew Raw and SmackDown was on and you were going to watch it at that time?
Yeah.
So you were like a dedicated fan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was obsessed with Stone Cold, and my friend was obsessed with The Rock. I remember getting into like a fist fight with him over how like building up to WrestleMania 17, I think, where we just like we got into a fight
over.
Where like our moms had to like talk about it, you know, and get us back into being friends again.
Just because you both were so into
Yeah, we were just crazy little kids, you know, obsessed with Stone Cold, and he was obsessed with The Rock.
Man, see, like I got into wrestling when it was like Jake the Snake and Ricky Steamboat. You came in at the perfect time. Rock and Stone Cold. You'll never get like another person that's like them, and then you had two of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best time in a long time for the
super
business.
Cool in school too. Like people were just like obsessed with wrestling at that time too. Everyone was.
So like I remember I traveled with you to the one show, and you were telling me how about like when eBay just started, like you were already like selling figures. Like this is probably skipping ahead a bit.
It's like 4 years later.
Like you were already hustling on the internet, like selling action figures like, from garage sales and stuff?
Yeah, I was pretty much, I don't know why though, because like my parents didn't really give me money to, you know, just go on eBay and like buy stuff. But I had a few things they bought me, and then I started up trading tapes and then trading wrestling figures, and then yeah, it was just this weird whole new world opened up.
So you're like basically like hustling, like doing the whole trade of like wrestling figures or shirts and
I was like
tapes
14, and like these dudes like the message boards were like probably older than me, and I was, you know, trading with them.
So when did you discover there was other wrestling, like smaller shows like indie wrestling and stuff?
2004, I think, because I remember the WWA and XWF and like TNA had pay-per-views, and they always put on these commercials that I always see. And then my mom ordered a couple of TNA pay-per-views, and then I saw a whole bunch of dudes there, and I was really confused to what was going on. And then I went online and like started digging into things, and I was like 14.
Did you ever go to, like I know WWF used to run Kitchener. Were they doing that when you were in?
Yeah.
Like, did you ever go to any of the?
Yeah, I went to the ones in like the Odd here back in like 2005.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but at this point I was already like a full like nerd, smart mark, you know.
Oh yeah. So it must have been awesome though going to the.
Yeah, I met Carlito there. Carlito was one of my favorites actually, just randomly. I don't know why I liked him, but I bought a shirt of his, and then John Cena signed some autographs for us too, and yeah, good stuff.
Do you still have the Cena autograph?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Like,
he
do you
signed
have
it
a-
like there wasn't a picture. It was just like the ticket stub envelope that it came in, and like he was just there, and I was like, oh, you know.
And he didn't charge you? Like, he was
No,
just
no, he
being
was
a
just
nice
signing
guy?
stuff for the fans after, yeah.
Like,
And I
after his
remember
match,
Edge
like-
was there too, and I gave him my Carlito shirt to sign because that's the only thing I had, and he's like, no, I'm not signing that, and he just walked by, and I was like, oh.
Makes sense. I don't blame him, really, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
But I met him after that, and he's a cool guy, whatever. You know?
Yeah, he used to come to a couple of the PWA shows. He was friends with like this Mike Flash guy,
Okay.
who I don't know very well, but I guess sometimes when he was in town for his 2 days off, he would come.
Yeah,
and
that
just
must have
hang
been in
in the back.
Brantford though, because I was.
Yeah, it was in Brantford.
Yeah, I didn't always get to the Brantford shows. I only went to the Cambridge ones, but yeah.
So like, so 2004 around that time, and I know PWA started in 2005. When did you find out? Because didn't you start training in 2005 or 2006?
2006.
And how old were you at that point?
I was 2006. I was 16.
Oh wow, okay.
But
So
again,
I started
I
at
was-
18, so.
I was selling some tapes again on one of the on the record, like it was used to be Kijiji for like the region or whatever, and Paul Wright showed up at my house to buy some tapes.
To buy a tape? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and then he's like, yeah, there's some other promotions out there you might want to look into, and then he told me about PWA, and then I couldn't get to a PWA. I was gonna go to the one in November of 2015, but I couldn't get to that one, and then my
I mean,
dad.
2005.
2005,
Yeah.
sorry. And then he brought me to the one in the Holiday Hangover in Cambridge.
Oh, I think, is that the one I wrestled Spears?
No.
No,
I
that
think
was the Royal
Spears
Rumble one,
wrestled
right?
Reggie there, yeah.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
the Royal Rumble one.
Yeah,
That's
and there
right,
was
that's right.
Warhead wrestled P Flex and like
The
crazy-
Dumb Pack match.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I was opening contest. I think you either wrestled Mike Stevens or like, it might have been MVP. But I was on that one. I know all
Yeah,
of that.
I think it was MVP, yeah.
Yeah, because you wrestled two guys. That's crazy. So then you went, and then how did you find out? Like, by this point, were you looking for a school, or did you want to be a wrestler, or you just loved wrestling? Like, had it crossed your mind that you wanted to train to be a wrestler?
Not really. Like I was just this fat kid, and I was like, I like this stuff, That's all I wanted. Like I don't know, I just wanted to be a part of it in some way. And then to the March show, where like somebody I can't remember who it was, but I think Paul brought me to one of the shows, and then I hung out there the whole day, and I was like, all right, these guys seem pretty approachable, they seem pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I guess I can do this.
So
And then it was about I used to go to shows with Paul Wright all the time, and I would just meet with guys, like I would talk to Jeff Black, and I would talk to Warhead, and I would talk to Eddie, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he just popped up saying that he's opening up a school, or that he's taking over a school that's already been there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Was that the one on King Street on Cambridge?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
old ICW? Yeah, because
Yeah,
for a
absolutely.
while there, Eddie just used the ring and stuff, and I don't know if he gave Ike Shaw a cut or whatever, but
I don't
Ike
know.
Shaw was
I
still.
don't know. Yeah, but
Excuse me, Ike Shaw was still there. I know that.
He was, because I've seen him once on one of the student shows that we had there. I've seen him come up the stairs once, and yeah, we didn't talk nothing. He just
No.
kind of walked by me, and yeah.
Yeah, he was getting his money, so he wasn't troubling anybody. Crazy. So then, like I know, I'm just kind of jumping around here.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sorry,
doesn't
but I know like you're really into like the Japanese style now too. Is that something you were into back then, or is that something?
Yeah, I was, but it was
you
like
got some tapes or something, or?
yeah, and I remember like talking about it all the time, and like one of the older guys, he asked me what my favorite wrestler was, and I was like Kenta Kobashi, and he's just kind of like, he looked down on me, and he's like, you're stupid, like what are you talking about? It's like, why are you being a smart ass? Why are you being a smart ass? By mentioning this guy's name, like how do you even follow him? And I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't talk about who I really like.
Yeah, no, people take it. Like, I'm not a huge into Japan. Like, I just don't have time. Like,
Yeah.
I barely watch WWE nowadays, and I would love to watch all of them. I just don't have time.
Oh, yeah, I'm
but
the
I'm a
same
fan
way,
of
but-
everything. But I'm
yeah.
just like, there's some things that I'm just not hip to, right? But
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's hard. Like when you first come in, the veterans talking. Like when I first got trained, I would go to a show, shake everyone's hand, and I was told not to
Not
say
to
anything,
speak.
not
Yeah,
to
that's-
do nothing, just like sit there, nod, say only speak when spoken to, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the way I was brought up too, and that's the truth. That's what you should do, basically.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Do you notice how like sometimes the locker rooms you get these young guys coming in there laughing and making jokes, and they don't introduce themselves? Like it's definitely changed since back when we were starting, right?
Yeah, I don't want to say, because that was already the assumption when I started too, that was already the assumption that,
It's already changing.
Changing, yeah.
I'm
So-
sure every generation says the same thing,
But it's
right?
pretty common sense, like anywhere you come, you can't just show up to your first day of work and just, start talking smack.
Making inappropriate jokes.
Being
or whatever.
inappropriate, yeah.
But then I guess if you just sit there and say nothing, then people would think, oh, like, who's the sourpuss in the corner kind of thing too, right? Like it's hard. I guess every locker room is different too, right?
Yeah, and it's just the way you carry yourself. It doesn't matter what you do. It's the way you are and the way you
So
represent
like
yourself.
I know when